failed Western, because it's failed. I mean, schooling is failing in this country. Why do we export it? You know, like we used to do in colonial times, export our second-rate products to South Africa. Now we export our second-rate education program. It's all wrong. So, you know, I would hope that your politicians would think differently about, you know, don't copy places like Britain or America. It's not working.
Oh my God, I never thought I'd ever hear that from you, Prof. Prof, as a professor, firstly, where did you study, and you are a professor in what?
Well, actually, I'm a professor in organisational capability, because I also work with organisations trying to change them for the better. So we have a company that does that, and we also have a charity that does the work with young people. But we also work in organisations trying to improve them, and that's how we came to work with children, because we realised that it's almost too late. You know, we work with 30, 40-year-old leaders in companies who don't know how to treat people as human beings, and again, xenophobic and narrow, and well, we've got to tackle this in childhood. So that's my professorship. I was a chemist originally, that's my degree, but I got involved with the student movement in the 1960s. I was National Secretary of the National Union of Students in this country, and my interest was not so much in what people were protesting about that time, but seeing that education wasn't working. So I was quite heavily involved in the late 60s with attempts to change education. It didn't work, but I've always kind of held on to those values, and now I'm older, I've got more chance, and it's actually quite useful to be a professor, because when we go into schools, I can get away with being kind of subversive. So like, I remember I was working with these boys who were really difficult, and they were supposed to come in and sit in the classroom, and they also like playing football. So we'd go and play football for 20 minutes. Well, all the other children, of course, in classrooms, you see. So, but they'd go along the corridor with the football, and people would stop them, and they would say, "Oh, but it's okay because Professor Cunningham says it's okay." So that would kind of, you know, get away with the teachers trying to stop them, because they needed to get, you know, that energy when they come into school in the morning. They'd probably, you know, been drinking Coke and eating sweets and really bad diet, but, you know, so if we play football for 20 minutes, then they could sit down and talk, but they couldn't. No wonder they were being thrown out of the classroom, because, you know, these are 13-year-old boys with a lot of energy. You know, you make them sit down for an hour, you know, it's just ridiculous. So I use my professor title to get away with things in schools, because they go, "Professor, okay," you know, it's just like, you know, so it's quite useful.
Professor, I'd like your challenges in this organization you're doing, the job you're doing, and your future plans, what you want to achieve.
Well, one of the things, I think that in the long term, schooling in the Western model will fail, and that we want to have a model when it fails to show what could be done, but also we want to expand our own work. So we are looking for new premises. We're hoping to move into a new building in September, so we can take more children. We're going to talk, you know, we try to influence schools. One of the things we say when we go into a school is we want one of the staff members to work with us, to learn how we work, and to learn to think differently, so that we can kind of subvert the school's way of working by encouraging. Often it's not the teachers, it's teaching assistants and non-teaching staff that we work with, because they're often more open, because the teachers have been indoctrinated just to come in and teach their subject. So they don't teach people, they teach a subject. You know, I'm here to teach chemistry, they say, not to deal with people. You know, I'm a chemist, you know, and it's wrong, you know. And I hope that, you know, in South Africa and throughout Africa, you've got opportunities to throw off the whole colonial model and think differently. But the trouble is, it's so easy, isn't it? It's seductive, isn't it? You know, school. It's a standard institution around the world. Let's have schools. You know, well, is it right? You know, is it a right approach? I'm not so sure.
Doc, I hear you speaking of indoctrination. I don't want to get into details about that, because of the world is at turmoil because of the indoctrination, the education that we receive and the education that we don't receive, the truth education that we need. Now, Prof, you are running an institution inside your house, and if it was in our country, you should be accredited for doing that. So I just want to check, are you accredited for doing that?
We are approved. I mean, the local council here, local authority, knows of our work and is very keen, because they know that where the schools fail, they can send people to us. Luckily, I mean, yes, probably technically we should be seen as a school and inspected, but if we weren't inspected, we would fail an inspection, because they would come and say, where's the classroom? There aren't any. Where's the this curriculum? There isn't one. Timetables, well, the students write their own timetables each week. Where are the lesson plans? There aren't any. So one of the reasons we only run for in the mornings is that can help us not to be seen as a school, because we don't have to provide meals and things. I mean, in fact, the students cook and provide meals for themselves anyway, because they all cook food. So yeah, it is a different system in this country, as I say, because you can have education out of school. So young people can be home educated. They don't have to go to school, but you have to prove to the authority that it's okay. But for the local council here, we've proved that what we do is okay. So we're not kind of okay with the government, but we're okay with the local council, and we're approved as an alternative education provider for schools. So in other words, we can go into schools, and we have to be checked. Like there's something in this country called the Criminal Records Bureau, and we have to be checked if anybody has a criminal record, because you're not allowed to work with children if you've committed certain crimes and things. So there are so you have to be approved. We also have we have to be checked out for that, for you know, making certain that we're not going to abuse children. So that's a rule. But otherwise, we kind of get away with it. You know what I mean? It's the people locally know that what we do works. The schools are desperate for somebody to take off their hands people that they have a problem with. So it means that we can kind of work the system a bit. You know?
I thought there is somebody who wanted to ask something, but the last question that I just want to ask, if maybe somebody wants to reach Professor.
Microphone on. Look.
Well, the recording's just...
Guys? You didn't have the microphone on.
Ah.
So what's that?
That's what's going out on the radio now.
Okay, right. This is all a bit of a flipping disaster then. So, right, what we have to do is stop, and you're just about to leave, Ian.
Yeah, I can come back, but they're not going to be here. Is that right?
No, they are actually available till 5 o'clock.
No, but I mean another day or something, because I've got to go do things this afternoon now.
Okay,
but,
then that's too good to lose that one, don't you agree, guys? I can't believe that happened. Don't worry, we're not blaming you. You misread it. Somebody didn't put in the... I don't know how. So too many cooks, I think, is the answer there. Right.
So it's been going out live?
No.
No,
It's been recording the radio show that is going out live. I've turned this and everything. Yeah.
Were you recording?
But the microphone wasn't switched on.
Were you recording on here? We could use the audio from that then.
Were you?
Well, you want to?
What's the quality of the audio on your camera like?
I don't know, you check.
Can you download the audio from Miranda's camera and see what the quality is? Why don't you finish up without just interrupt? Don't worry about the interruption.